here we are, Talbot Street.
Everybody's come through the doors of this building, haven't they? And all sorts of things.
Yeah, they've come through for the complaints, confessions to murder, and of course Jerry Hutch snuck in this building as well late at night one night and did an interview.
And flowers.
And flowers.
Don't forget the flowers, because we're going to tell all these stories at the Cork Podcast Festival, which is our show's actually on the 30th of March in the Opera House. Tickets are on sale from the corkpodcastfestival.ie, and they're selling fast. We've only got, 2 weeks left?
2 weeks left, yeah.
We spoke last week about Devon Hennessy, a son of Jason Hennessy Snr, who'd gone on hunger strike in Portlaoise Prison. There was a lot of commentary about the podcast on our social media. Anyway, he didn't last very long, did he?
He didn't last, because I think we did have a long discussion about how long somebody can last in hunger strike, didn't we? And we were talking, I think we said Bobby Sands last 66 days, and we discussed, I think, a PKK member who lasted 200 and something.
Yeah, but and all the health effects that it would have and all the rest of it. But a lot of commentary around that story that we did and that podcast that we did related to the fact that maybe Devon Hennessy wasn't going to last very long at all. And yes, people, you were correct.
Yes, he didn't. Look, let's put the good news first. It looks like he's going to survive the physical impact, because he seemed to have lasted in or around, and we can't judge this to the minute.
Yeah.
In or around 24 hours.
Right. Yeah. So it was kind of like intermittent fasting.
I suppose so.
Trying it and then giving up, not being able to cope with it.
He definitely didn't have dinner. So we can say that.
No. Well, Pat O'Connell was actually reporting on Sunday that Devon, but also Brandon and Jason Hennessy Snr had refused meals.
Junior,
had refused meals, but sources told them that basically they were back dining on it, but so quickly they were back dining on food so quickly that prison didn't have time to implement the food refusal protocols.
Okay.
So that,
so it was a foray into a hunger strike rather than anything else.
Exactly. I think it was a threat of a hunger strike. And as soon as, according to sources now, as soon as the hunger pangs hit,
right.
Because they have these protocols, because you have, quite a lot of people going, not a lot of people, but there's a couple of people every year going hunger strike. We had Bill Keneally, of course, went on hunger strike, the notorious sex offender. He went on hunger strike for an extended period of time. So there's a couple of people every year do it. It's often these people that wouldn't be very notorious, and when people do it, they have these protocols, and they basically go to the High Court if they need medical intervention and they're refusing food and et cetera, et cetera.
Didn't happen in this case.
However, the state was saved a little bit of a bill in this case.
I believe the grub in Portlaoise is excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be quite difficult, really, when you think about it. I'm not making a joke, by the way, of any political prisoners that went on these hunger strikes over the years for the reasons they did. But I mean, this guy, you're sitting there, you missed your lunch maybe. Did he miss his lunch? Is that what we're saying? He missed his lunch and maybe his brekkie?
We can't confirm how many.
We can't confirm anything. And we don't know what he sneaked in the meantime. But nonetheless, when the dinner is coming in Portlaoise Prison, the smell must be quite nice.
Yeah, well, we have sources quoted saying that they didn't last much longer than if they'd skipped their dinner. They gave up as soon as the first pangs of hunger hit. So,
wow.
It's...
I think I'd even do better than that.
I think you would, yeah. Like if you were... I probably have. Like back in the day when you're trying to fit into a dress for a wedding, you should probably give it a better go than they did. But anyway.
There we go. Anyway, these guys aren't funny, because Devon Hennessy in particular is one of 5 people on remand in the jail after being charged with falsely imprisoning a man at a property in West Dublin. And we did hear quite a bit of evidence around the allegations, this torture event, because they looked for bail and they didn't get out.
Oh.
And they didn't get out because Gardaí involved in this rescue of this man had to give evidence about what had happened to him. So it was pretty hardcore stuff that was read to the court.
It was, yeah, because it was it was Devon and Jason Jnr. and then Dean Fitzsimons and his dad Kenneth looking for bail. Brandon didn't take an application at that time, but yeah, it was just basically heard about the allegations of beating him, branding him. He was allegedly branded a rat. He was obviously driven over with a motorbike, and then there was concerns about if they got out, about the fears of the community, then flight risk and all of those different
and this guy, I think the court heard, knew them.
Yeah, I mean, he went to meet them is what the court was told. This is the Garda evidence. Now, the defendants haven't been given an opportunity to give their side of events, and they're, they haven't made a plea, so they are not guilty. But his evidence was, or the evidence given by the guard was, this man called to the door with a prearranged meeting. At that point, he was brought into an outhouse at the back of the home. He was punched in the face. He said he was questioned. He was ultimately attacked. Other men came along, and they heated up a cattle branding thing with the word rat written on it, and that was put into his body 8 times. That's the allegation. Obviously, it hasn't been heard, and we will hear more as the case progresses, no doubt.
Now, this, all in the background of this, is the murder of Jason Hennessy Snr, the father of Devon, Brandon and Jason Jnr. And he was executed by the gunman Tristan Sherry in Browne's Steakhouse in Blanchardstown on Christmas Eve 2023. And at that time, Tristan Sherry was sort of overwhelmed at the scene, and he was killed. And there have been a number of people, they've gone through the courts now.
They've gone through the courts and they've been
5 or 6 of them, yeah?
I think there were 6. There was 3 convicted of murder, wasn't there? And then there was other violent disorder convictions as well. So yeah, there was I believe 6 of them, and they're all in custody at the moment. So yeah, it's I don't believe there's anyone else before the courts, but they were tried before the special criminal court, and there was like really graphic evidence heard. The details of there was video footage going around. We actually did see video footage afterwards as well, but you wouldn't want to publish it. He was stabbed and beaten, and it was horrific. I think it was a horrific scene from what was said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, this case in relation to the alleged torture of this man is going on through the courts, but at least we'll know that Devon Hennessy will make it to the next court appearance in one piece.
That's very good.
And he won't have a drip or anything like that. He's back eating. Thank God.
Yeah? Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank God. All right, we'll leave it at that.
Thanks. Robbie Lawler was out of control.
This is Double Cross, the murder of Robbie Lawler.
It was going to be an all-out war with him in the middle of it.
Crime World special investigation podcast based on my new book, Web of Betrayal, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're watching Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs and the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you can be the first to watch all our latest episodes. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts.